That is, these are our company. So we are going live.
All right, fantastic.
Done. We are live.
Yeah, that's great. It seems like we're live there, but I do see
Yes.
that the LinkedIn on our side isn't going to go live. We could just skip it because I see it's not picking up. But
Okay.
we pointed everyone towards
Okay.
your link.
So shall we start?
Let's do it.
Hello, everybody. So today, my name is Ali Muhammad Ali Hassan. I'm the CEO of Alburak Technologies, and I've done a lot of other stuff as well, which you already know. But today we have a very good tech star with us, Stefan. How are you?
I'm doing very good. Thank you. Yeah, happy to be here. Been doing a lot of high scale technology for the past decade plus, and excited to share some of those stories with you today.
That is so great. That the perfect word you use, high tech security, high tech technology you have worked, and you are one of the very few people I know that who has worked great and who has worked great in infrastructure, right? And to the audience, PubNub is one of the finest tech which I know, and he's the man behind PubNub tech, and we'll talk about everything in detail today. We'll talk how they developed PubNub, how they worked on other stuff as well, and how it evolved, right? So you can give us some of the introduction of PubNub.
Yeah, absolutely. So we got started, a good decade plus ago, and the idea was we needed a way to connect devices. These phones, there was no push notifications yet. Those things didn't
Yeah,
exist. They weren't
yeah,
real, and so we needed a way to communicate between the two devices easily. Did you know it's actually pretty straightforward if you're on the same network to have the devices connect over a local IP address? But the
yeah,
challenge becomes once those devices are not connected on the same network, and so
yeah.
enter
And
PubNub.
yeah, and this is how PubNub was reimagined. Okay, so one thing, because you are comparing Firebase as well, right? In real-time notifications. And I've heard you many times that you are better than Firebase. How would you justify that?
Oh yes, well, we have a world record. We can justify it because we've actually done it. Yeah, there
Yes.
was a
And
IPL. Oh, go ahead.
yeah, yeah, yeah. Please, please, please let me know.
Yeah. So we partnered with Akamai and Disney with Hotstar to
Right.
power IPL, the Cricket League. There
Hmm.
were over 17 million concurrent connected users at the time.
Ooh,
It was a large audience, and
it
they needed.
is Tartarians. Yeah.
Yeah, it was huge, and we beat the record. You can look it up on the internet. You'll see even Akamai posting about it. And this is what we
Yeah.
did. We were able to prove it. Our technology stood the time.
But when you compete with a company like Google, right? There are a lot of people who say you that how dare you can do that. How did you respond to those people back in times when you were not that right? Because there was Google and they developed Firebase, right? So everybody could have said that why you guys are doing that? They are doing it. Just leave it. So how was that time looks like?
That's actually, yeah, that's kind of interesting. A good question. So we came out before that occurred, before that technology was developed.
Yeah.
And we've been building it for a long time, and we found a lot of pains and challenges along the way, especially once you have devices that are on unreliable networks that seem
Yes.
to switch around between different cell towers and also onto Wi-Fi. And so being
Yeah.
able to keep that connection open and still delivering data to the device without losing any data was something that we got really, really good at over the years. And
Yeah.
and this is the core to that. And so you compare us, you mentioned the Firebase Google technology, which is a
Yeah.
fantastic technology. We love it.
That is. Yeah.
It's fantastic. So it's the idea is you have a database and all the changes that occur in the database get streamed to the client. And typically that works great if this is the sole database and the focus of that. We see our customers often come to us either because they outgrew it, because the scale they need is much larger and they have a large audience, and they always say there's a maximum limit. And so we can help them there with that. The other side
Yeah.
of the coin is you have to give all your data over to Google, and most businesses, they have their own user database. They have their
Yes,
own data storage, right? And
of
so
course.
in order to make that real time, they have to hand all that over to Google. And they don't want to do that. As a whole nother huge engineering lift. They want to take uh, specific aspects of the data, not just the data itself, but events surrounding that data.
Yeah,
And
yeah,
this is
yeah,
where PubNub shines. And so we power a lot of telephony apps, delivery apps, because I need
yes.
to make sure, where is my sandwich? I ordered the sandwich. How far? How close is
How
it?
far? Yeah, because you need real time, right? And I remember back in my 2013, right? I started my career in 2013. So at that time, Uber was there in the US, but that was not available in Pakistan. So a replica of Uber was my first career application. So I started thinking from that, right? And from there, I got to know that how real-time notifications work. And at that time, you're right that there were many challenges. Before that, we used to work with the APIs. We used to call APIs again and again to get the latest status, right? And then this real-time notifications comes in, and they change the whole industry, right? And let's go back. Let's go back. You started your first venture in the age of 17.
Oh,
We did
yeah.
that. We did our research. Tell us about
Wow.
Altison.
Yeah, that was a while ago. Then
Yeah,
so yeah, my family was entrepreneurial growing
yeah.
up. They had a county level municipal pipe business,
Mhm,
and
mhm.
they would sell fittings and these giant tubes to the city and
Got it.
farming institutions. This was inspiring to me. So even before 17, when I was 14, this is what I'd do. I'd put websites out. I'd launch websites
Yeah.
because that's what you do back and then. And I would try to start a business. And it turns out that part was really easy. Getting the
Yeah.
website out there, super easy. The hard part was, after it started, you open it up, there's like, okay, now what do I do? There's no one coming to my website. How do I
Yes.
how do I start attracting customers? And so
Yes.
there the game, that's when the game starts.
And you are very few people who are so much technical, and they think with the perspective of marketing as well. Because many people I met who are techies, they're nerds. I'm sorry, everyone, right? But you do have a different approach. You do look at things how the user is going to experience. How did you develop that empathy? Because that is very important when you are developing some product, right? So how did you develop that?
So a critical aspect when you're starting a business is that you go live as soon as possible. You build the
Yeah.
product MVP, and this is
Mhm.
even incubators and accelerators. Y Combinator, they'll say, just get the baseline of your MVP and then launch it immediately. Just get it out there, get it in front of customers, and have them start using it. They're going
Okay.
to tell you exactly what's broken, what's not, and you'll get immediate feedback. You can get lighthouse customers. You can start innovating. You can pivot if needed. Then you will have a great product, and that's huge. Here's the opposite. Here's what goes wrong. You take an idea and then you work on it, and you work on it some more. You're like, oh no, that's not right. And then you do a little bit more work, and then you keep going, and you're like, oh no, I can't
Yeah.
launch this yet because it's missing. Blah 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 blah. And then you just keep building and building and building. 6 months goes by. Too late. That's too long. More than 6 months.
Yeah.
If you're taking that long to build a product, you failed.
Yeah. So you are saying do not wait for the perfect product. Just go launch it and get the benefit of early advantage, right?
Yep.
Okay. So that is the lesson for you. Get the early advantage and tweak it later. And PubNub has tweaked it many times. Tell us
Yeah.
about that. You have done a lot. You have worked on your product a lot. You have changed it many times. You have improved it many times. And I know that you are even now you are doing that, right? You're moving toward the generative AI. So I'm going to talk about that as well. But first, we need to talk about how you did that in the past.
All right. So, how do we continue to evolve the product over time?
Yeah.
the big part that tends to slow down a business is scale, right?
Yeah.
Once you do have a successful product that companies love and they pay you for, then they will keep growing. They'll start using your product more. You'll start getting more customers. And then, you might have to do a little bit more work to make sure that everything's in the right spot.
Yeah. Yeah.
So we have multiple registered patent claims that allow us to claim our IP for how we've built this innovation in our technology. We can connect all the cloud regions, right? This is where the main aspect of our patent lies. We have the ability to say we can replicate data to regions in a cloud environment, and that as the customer's data is available to those customers as close to that user as possible. So no matter where you are in the world, you connect to the closest region, and then you use the cloud links to replicate that data. And this is the IP that we've built and patented.
Okay. So that is how you are saving yourself.
Yep. So we gotta have that protection. Got the IP protection.
And now you are working on the generative AI, right? And you
That's
are
right.
integrating that into your product. You are building bots. Tell us about that.
So one of the advantages that we have is we've got over 1 billion devices connected to our network today. And along with that is a lot of data that goes through the network, multiple petabytes, right? So that's a huge amount of JSON data. And a lot of that JSON data is unstructured, right? So it's conversational. Our opportunity here is to help our customers leverage that and provide AI capabilities that can then augment their experience. So that data is already flowing through the network, and we're doing this in under 100 milliseconds. So if we can do that, we can offer AI tools at the edge. We will be a step further. So the good part is you also mentioned, where are we going with generative AI? Lots of places.
Yeah.
So there's two. Oh, go ahead.
Yeah, and bots are one of them, right? And you're doing a lot more.
That's right. Yeah, we have a dedicated AI team here at PubNub, and a director of strategic AI, Craig Conover, is heading up one of the coolest initiatives. Wasn't that cool? You have a strategic AI title? That is fantastic. And he's running the AI team here at PubNub to build tools internally that can help teach all of our employees and all our team members how they can take advantage of generative AI, and then also how we can build tools that are specifically tailored to optimize their day-to-day.
Got it.
That's something that's really exciting. I really like that. There is another one, which is an early preview that we have launched. If you're interested, please reach out. We've created, we call it Analyze Your Dashboards with AI.
Okay.
And when you go to your admin panel on PubNub, you'll see a lot of charts. There's charts going this way, some charts going this way. Is it up? Is up good? I think up is usually good. But if it's the error chart, that's not good. So there is an assistant AI that has pre-built with the knowledge that understands what the chart patterns look like and can help guide you along to describe what you're looking at. So it's called Analyze Charts with AI. And I'm really excited about it. It's early preview. And we just got this company-wide Slack announcement went out yesterday. So I was excited.
So we are going to have an invite on that, right?
Absolutely. Yeah.
Perfect.
Let's do it.
We got it. Okay. From this, there's a fun thing. Now, after implementing generating AI into your product, should I expect that people will stop calling you a telecom company?
Oh, yeah.
I remember that. Tell us more titles people gave you about the company, that what your company does.
Well, see, no, that's a hard one because we're a communication layer that no one knows, right? No one. We're behind the scenes. We help power all these apps, and we've got companies that are paying us. They send us checks. We've got Meta sending us checks. We've got Google sending us checks, which is very interesting. Like, oh, why is this? Very interesting. And so you don't know because we're just behind the scenes. And so it's even difficult for us. We're having this problem right now, and we've had this problem forever, even since we started. How do we describe what PubNub is? How do we describe what we do?
Yeah.
Because we are a communications company that makes it really easy to allow apps to communicate, multiplayer games, right?
Yes.
How do you allow those in-game experiences? How do you do player match making, right? How do you make sure this player over here, and these players, they can come together and play at the same time? That's a big challenge. And so those are the kinds of things that we solve. And what do you call it?
I think telecom company has no problem with that.
Yeah.
If I said that PubNub is a telecom company,
Yeah.
you should enjoy it. That's a big sector.
It's a good brand, I think. And
Yeah. So you still are struggling to find some type tagline for that.
yeah, isn't that crazy? After
Why?
how many years? Over a decade. And
Yeah,
we
over
keep
a decade.
changing it. Like we've tried real-time communication, edge messaging,
Yeah.
which is kind of one of my favorites. I like edge messaging. It's a really good one.
Why don't you get some competition for that? Have some competition to give you a better tagline. So whoever
Oh,
does that and give some reward to him.
there we go.
That
Yeah.
was so simple.
There are a lot of competitors, and
Yeah.
so in our space today, it's a lot of fun to install Socket.io and SignalR because it makes
Yeah.
it really easy. There's command line tools that you can install it,
Mm.
and I enjoy it too because you can get it set up and it works in your dev environment really straightforwardly. You can even deploy it into the cloud, and you'll get a pretty good experience. The challenge becomes after you've deployed it, then the upkeep and the uptake and the scale up. And what about redelivery of messages? Oh, those messages should not be, kept around, right? We need those messages to be ephemeral. Or these messages over here, they're really, really, really important.
Yeah.
And so now you have to start building all this extra stuff up, and then you have to add security on top of that. And then what about connectivity detection? What if that connection drops? Do I need to let the other devices know? That's a big one. So presence detection, we need to be able to share that green dot, like, oh, you're online, that Skype green dot, right?
So that you get the notification, so that you are connected with the device, right?
Exactly.
Okay. So tell me one thing. How is low code and no code applications are affecting you? Are you doing something for those platforms as well? Because the era is coming. I'm in the dev from last almost 11 years, right? And things are changing so fast. Platforms are coming, and things are changing toward low code, no code. And of course, ChatGPT is going to remove all of that as well. But right now, low code, no code has a lot of market, right? They have captured it already. So how PubNub is supporting them?
Yeah, great question. I love this because you've used the generative AI to build something for you before, right? I have actually used it a lot now.
I have created, yeah. I was telling that I have created a horror movie from the generative AI.
Really?
Yeah, I have created a very short clip that is available on YouTube as well, right? So we created a 30-second clip from the Runway ML and other tools, and it was amazing.
No, okay. I haven't seen it, but I would like to check it out to see what AI.
Yeah, I'll send you the link.
Yeah, that would be great.
Okay, you were telling something about low code and no code.
Yeah, so we're in the age of where even the junior developers can become a lot more capable using generative AI because these AIs are experts, and all you have to do is sort of describe what you want and it will build it out, which is great. And it can only go so far these days, but we're at the beginning, right? We're not done yet. There's many more innovations to go. And so, yes, you're right. We're in the low code, no code era. And what we've done is create a globally distributed low code platform that we call PubNub Functions.
Yeah.
This is a critical piece of infrastructure that allows us to integrate with different partners and different APIs really, really easily. And we have a catalog of integrations that make it is push button. So it's like very, very low code. After you click the button, it takes you into a code editor, and it's just a little bit of snippet of JavaScript. And this allows you to make a request, and now you have a globally distributed API call system, which is pretty cool. Now, we do something different. We do something different with our functions. I call it proactive replication. So once you click the deploy button, your code is actually globally distributed, and then it launches and it's active in memory and ready to service your customers immediately. This is important because other models on the market today, they're called reactive replication model. So only once a user makes a request will it sort of spin up and sort of rehydrate. And that causes a slow user experience. But we don't want that. We want every single API call to be as fast as possible.
Right.
And so this is where our low-code platform is taking it one step further in compared to what is available in the market. And we're not done yet. It goes further. So you know how I said you can click a button, your code just shows up, and then it can get deployed globally? Well, we're going to sort of hide. We haven't released this yet, and we'll see what our head of product says as soon as I tell you, because he's like, don't say anything yet. But we are working on an innovation that takes that one step further, and I'm really, really excited about it. For our
that is why I was saying that you work with the empathy. You try to go as close as possible, right? And that is the best thing, to develop something and to keep things evolving. Because if you do not keep evolving, then you stay behind, right? And that is my opinion. Okay, so let's talk about the mistakes PubNub made through these more than a decade, right? So I'm sure there will be many, because we all made, right? I have closed many companies. Do not ask me how many. So right now, well, still we are working, right? And similarly, PubNub should also have made many mistakes. So tell us about those, and what lessons they gave you, so that people looking at you right now, people listening to you right now, can avoid those mistakes.
Yes, let's do it. So I have several stories, and I'm happy to start with this one first. Yeah, I'll start with this one first. This one's a more personal story, more related to team members and things like that, because I had to fire someone who I did not want to fire, because here's why. They were the best at what they did. They were loved at the company. Every single person on the team was wanting to imitate this person because they did so well. They did such a good job. They were fantastic. So wait a second. You're saying, hey, Steven,
why did you fire him?
Why did you fire the person? Yeah. Okay.
Are you for real?
Yeah, this is for real. So guess what? Miss Ivy League person comes through the door, like, all right, I'm going to make some changes here. And they had big ideas. They had big ideas about how changes are going to be made. They were put in charge of the team that this person was on. And guess what? They didn't do anything. Just sorry first. Their ideas did not work. It didn't work out. But at that time, they said, okay, here's what we're going to do. We're going to do high quantity and low quality. That's not, that's like, that's painful. But they took over this team, and they had high aspirations and drive. And so they told this to everyone on the team, and the person who was at the top said, no, not going to do it. I can't compromise on that. This is how I'm measured in my day-to-day, and I already have something that works. And you're telling me to stop doing that, I'm going to fail. You're telling me to fail at my job.
Yeah, of course.
But go ahead.
Because first, what I think is, first, if something is working, right, you need to be perfect on that, right? Whatever you are doing next, that should not affect the previous one, right? So that is the right approach.
Yeah, we had success. But here's the hard part. Here's the tricky part. So since they weren't agreeing and they weren't working, with the team, which is kind of like the stance, like management that at the time was like, okay, I need to make sure everyone on my team is able to like move in lockstep, which totally makes sense, right? Let's make sure that we're all going in the same direction. We're all doing the best we possibly can. And then they said, okay, well, I don't really want to let this person go. Hey, Steven, you know this person a little bit better than ever. Why don't you deliver the news? I didn't want to do that. It was a very terrible day. So like, okay, hey, let's go into this meeting room over here. And guess what? And they kind of figured it out pretty quick, but it was not a fun day. I tell you that. It was not.
I hope you didn't did that in the Elon Musk trial.
Yeah, it was an emotional time. So
because firing someone is not an easy job. To anyone who is listening, if you are a founder or if you are working for someone, firing is not easy for you, for the person who is firing you. Because if we are going to work with you even for a day, we are emotionally attached with you, right? So after having attachment with you, firing is the very least lovable thing, I would say, on the floor. So that for sure is a hard thing. And I've done that. And sometimes you realize later on that that might was a good decision. Sometimes you say that it was the right decision. It happens. I can feel that. I can understand that. You have seen. I've been emotional. Right. What else?
Okay, here's the next story.
Yeah, go ahead.
Yes. All right. So, okay. All right. So I mentioned before I have several, but let's talk about this one. This is where we failed from a product perspective.
Yeah.
This will be a good one. When so we had already been out for, we already at like our third office, right? We were growing as a company. And then you mentioned Firebase, right?
Yeah.
So it's like this data sync style company. And so you're like, this is kind of a popular pattern. What if we did it too? And so we did. We actually built it, and then we approached customers because we already had the real-time message bus. All we had to do is sync it up to a database, which turned out was pretty dang easy. Once we did that, we started bringing it to customers, and then that's when we found out. Guess what? Most of the time, they don't want that data to be, sitting on a disk. They want that data to be transited to the device, and then they want to send other kinds of data to the device, but they didn't want it to sync in a database. They just wanted to send signals for the most part. And here's why. The abstraction of the data from the signal was the critical key component, right? Yeah. If I'm going to make a phone ring, which we do, we help make phones ring really, really fast.
Yeah.
That doesn't need to be a database entry. I mean, you definitely log it, right? It'd be a log, and you might want to meter it. You might want to bill for it, but there's no need for that to be also in a.
You can change the order. Yeah.
Exactly. So all of our use cases and our customers where we had high scale, low scale, interesting scale, they really just wanted that message pipe, and they wanted a really reliable pipe. And then they wanted, the extra bells and whistles around the edge, which were more programmatic and feature rich than just a data store.
Right.
And so guess what we did? We sunset the product. We killed it. We actually deleted it. We turned it off. And so we had that experience. And this is a time when I guess you could, because we didn't know, right? So was it a mistake? I don't know. I think the part that worked out for us is we failed fast. We built it, we deployed it, we got customers to test it out.
I recently had this story. I just remember it. So what happened is one of the clients said that you need to implement this feature in the product. We said, okay, we'll do that. We did that, right? And after that, he said, I think we need to change, and you can delete this feature. I said, okay. We removed that feature. After 1 month, he said, where is the code? And that code was deleted.
Yeah, no.
And I was saying to my people, why you didn't apply it on Git? And they said, he said, delete it. So we deleted it. So that
No.
happens. That happens. And I was like, man, come on, use Git so that you have all the revisions. So it happens a lot of time.
Oh, that's
So
tough.
how many developer stories you have like that when you have such things happened in the deployments or stuff like that?
Ooh, okay. Here's another fun one. And it was a whoopsie. So this was a
Yeah.
whoopsie. We exposed our AWS keys in a Git
Oh,
push. Oh
nice.
no.
Where is that released?
Yeah, this was half a decade ago, and this was on a
Okay.
public repository. Oh
Yeah.
no, the AWS keys are exposed. But we didn't know. A developer just, happened to push.
Yeah.
And guess what?
It
They were out
happens.
there. Someone found them. We found out because AWS gave us a call and they said, hey, you spun up thousands of
Yeah.
servers and they all seem to be mining Bitcoin.
Yeah.
Was this
That's
on
right.
purpose? Did you do it on
Yeah.
purpose?
So that means the right person found those.
Y- Yeah. At least AWS let us know. Yeah.
Yeah. So what happened with us was that from 2 days, developer was working and he was stuck on one issue. And the issue was he was saying that I am updating the code, but that is not replicating on the live site. And this is I'm telling you an old story, like when FileZilla was mostly used, and you use FTP to update the files, right before CI/CD and Docker, etc. So I was like, it's been 2 days. What you are doing? Show me that. And I went to his machine and I started looking at things. I found out within 5 to 10 minutes that he's not using the actual server. He's using some other server, right? He's updating some other server and checking the changes on another URL.
Oh
I
no.
was like, oh man, at least look what you are updating. So it happens a lot in the developers' lifestyle. And we had these kind of stories a lot in which we have faced it. So let's move on. Lessons learned till
Yes.
now,
Yeah.
and you tell us
Oh, wait,
what
wait.
what
Oh, wait.
lessons PubNub learned from the mistakes.
Oh, well, make sure that you don't expose your AWS keys. That's a good lesson.
That's a good lesson. That's a
Mhm.
very good lesson, and that is going to save a lot of money as well.
Yeah. Yeah, that's the
Because
one.
yeah,
Uh, did so from these various. So the big one that I would say that the happiest takeaway was as we're building products, we need to move really fast and we need to release
Mhm.
soon because the key part of this is we can get the feedback from our customers quickly.
Yeah,
We have sunsetted other products before, and just making sure that you stay laser focused and getting the value out that you're targeting your customers to achieve. Right, you want to make sure that your customers are successful and they're able
right.
to adopt your technology. If you make it really hard, it's going to be that's a big mistake, right?
Hmm.
Here's the reason: businesses are going to pay you, or your users are going to pay you, because you've made it really easy. If you make it
Yeah,
hard, then they're going to find another way to make their life easier.
of
So
course, of course.
yeah, make it easy. That's a huge key aspect because that's what we're paying for. I want to make it automatic.
Mhm. How was COVID look like?
How was what looks like?
COVID, how was the time? COVID time for
it
PubNub?
it
It,
changed it all.
but it should be fantastic for you. Most of the businesses shifted online, so it should be fantastic for you.
Yes.
Business,
So
but not the other one.
transformative. Yeah,
Yeah.
it was. Yeah. So in
So
terms of, let's say, yeah, so COVID, right? So the work from home movement,
yeah.
so the regression to the mean for a human is 6 months, a half a year. And once
Mhm.
you've achieved, you make a major shift and
Yeah.
then that changes your life. So work from
Mhm.
home and it lasted more than 6 months. Now that
Yes.
becomes the new normal for humans.
Yes. Yeah.
And so now the world is used to working from home. And uh, myself, I really like when I aspire for business, I'm like, wouldn't it be so cool if I had this really beautiful office? And
Yeah.
in the office, we have like fantastic windows. You can see it from the street. It looks really cool.
Yeah. I
That
can understand.
it's a neat feeling. I really like that. But working from home is so comfortable. I love it. It's amazing. It's like, okay,
Right.
I just want to like maybe, grab a blanket or a coffee, or, hey, I've got, it's just so comfortable working from home.
Mm.
And I don't have to commute for hours per day.
Yeah.
So I get to keep all this energy. I get to reinvest it. And
Mm.
I love spending that time investing it back into the company. So it is a pretty good. So that's huge. A lot of our team members moved away from the
Right.
city, and now
Okay.
they're living really comfortable in a work from home settings, which is
Okay.
fantastic.
Okay.
And I totally understand it because I love it myself.
So you are biased toward work from home.
Yes.
Have you not talked to your managers?
Oh yeah. Okay. So that's another bit.
Talk to them. Talk to them. Get
Yeah.
another perspective.
From a manager's perspective, it's a lot more difficult to
Yeah.
maintain that relationship when
Mm.
it's over a Zoom call, kind of like what we're talking, right? We're kind of on a call right
Right.
now. It's more
Right.
difficult, more challenging
Mm.
for them to do this, because in person it's just higher bandwidth and it's a
Yeah.
different experience. And as
Mm.
humans, we're not able to experience that full, connection with your team members unless you're in person.
Right.
So what we've done is we've kind of gone a little bit of hybrid. We've got an
Mm.
offsite this week with one of
Okay.
our data teams. They
Okay.
are in the San Francisco office,
Mm.
and so they're here for the week. And so that's kind of the approach that we've taken. Some businesses are like, you must come in to the office
Yes.
at least twice a week.
We,
And
we
that's,
are like that. We are
I
like
don't,
that 5 days a week.
5 days a week, that's less. Yeah,
So we are like that.
you'll lose people like that. I mean, here especially, you'll lose because there's a lot of remote opportunities,
Yeah.
and you just want to keep it that way. I mean, you don't want to lose that comfort and all that extra
Mm.
not having to commute.
Yeah,
So
yeah, yeah. I can understand from the perspective of Silicon Valley and especially San Francisco. So I can understand from that perspective. But here we have different kind of challenges in the business because, of course, it is very comfortable, right? And managers find it very hard to communicate with the team. But our case is that because we are providing offshore resources, right, and staff augmentation services. So in our case, what happens is our client is already remote, right, and there's another manager involved, and then if the team goes remote, there are 2 to 3 layers involved in the communication. That is why we say that okay, you can take it as a hybrid model that whenever you need it, whenever there is some kind of problem, you can take the remote thing, right? But you should come office ideally. Like remote is not a normal for us. Remote is something like you can take it when you need it. But in most cases, we do say that you have to come to office. So we are
gotcha.
on the other side. We
Got it. Yeah.
two different type of opinions on one screen. Hey, people, see that. Okay, so next plans for the pub now.
Where are we going from here?
Where
Yeah.
you are going from here in the next 5 years? I'm asking you the big question.
We're investing heavily in data at PubNub, especially
Right.
with the AI revolution
Mhm.
being such a big thing. We see a lot of opportunity there to provide more value for our customers in augmenting their capabilities. As data is flowing through the system, we can start providing greater insights. And we are going to, we've already started building this year.
Right,
And
right, right.
it's kind of a nice transformative approach, and it's so much of
Mhm.
a change that we're really excited to start leading with some of that as a product offering. And there's some exciting things coming down the pipe. I have mentioned a few things that were a little sneak peeky,
Right.
uh,
Right. Right.
but there is even more, and
No.
I'm excited. I really want to tell you about it, but
Yeah.
I'm skating the edge already. So
I didn't ask you the valuation. You remember you
that's right.
promised yesterday?
You were asking me that yesterday.
I'm going to come toward that. So you have two options. You can tell us the valuation of PubNub or these features.
Which one? Oh yeah. I mean, I would.
Anyone.
Yeah, either one. Yeah. Oh, I can tell you a little bit about how valuation works. I mean, you're probably very much familiar with this.
Yeah.
There's various approaches. A lot of it's to do with
Mhm,
the revenue and the revenue growth.
mhm,
So as you're
mhm,
looking
mhm.
over the years, as you're growing revenue and it's going up and up and up, this will increase the share prices. Specifically, when you're looking at public companies, this is how they're
Yeah.
measured, right? So that is a fairly standard and common practice. The other is the rate of growth of revenue. So as you know, it depends on that slope, right? If you're growing revenue, but your slope is like this, that's fine. But if your slope's more like this, ooh, that's a little more exciting. If your slope is like this, then you're crazy. You're going crazy.
Yeah.
And so that changes the perception of the valuation. So that green money light goes on
Yeah.
when you look at those numbers. You're like, oh,
Yeah.
that's really exciting. I want to invest in that. And
Right. Right.
that's
Right.
typically how. So it's mostly emotional when you're looking at that from that
Mhm,
perspective, especially when you're doing when you're closing venture funds and you're doing angels and things like that. You're going to be looking at that kind of number, as opposed to a traditional number, which is more 409A style, which is a common practice for evaluating private companies. And then it's a very similar practice when you go and launch your company public, filing an
Yeah.
S1.
Got it. Got it. Still, you missed that part. How much value PubNub has.
Oh yeah, you can keep asking. you can tell- you can keep asking.
You see the focus.
Mhm.
I was focusing on the number.
Yeah.
Okay, let's leave that. Okay, so so that means that PubNub is doing a lot of tweaks in the future as well in the data side, right?
Yes.
But there is another side of generative AI because you are a techie, I am a techie. We do understand one thing that the power AI is bringing, the power Chat GPT is bringing, right? Or other tools as well. That is going to eat the jobs of the software engineers, especially, right? So, how are you planning to have? How are you planning to move the workforce, or how are you going to transform that thing into PubNub?
Yeah, great question. So we're talking about generative AI in this case,
Yeah,
right? And so
yeah.
there is a challenge of generative AI, and we're even talking with some of our partners, or our data center partners. They are still looking for, like, what are some good, killer features, killer apps.
Yeah.
You and I were talking earlier about Craig Conover, who is at PubNub, who's heading our AI strategy.
Mhm. Mhm.
We found internally, after interviewing a lot of our team members and departments, that there's very specific considerations, what some of our team members call bells and whistles, that are
Okay.
required and needed
Mhm.
in order to make some of those generative AI capabilities just that much more approachable and to automate a lot of our day-to-day. Something that
Right.
I'm interested in doing, that we'll see how it goes, is maybe potentially starting a new series that
Mhm.
describes how you can start a business using PubNub technology and generative AI
Very good.
with our low code platform that will target
Mhm.
some of these specific use cases. Uh,
That is going to rocket.
yeah.
I can imagine that, right? So eventually, by the way, what is the most interesting thing you have generated through generative AI, like GPT or BART?
Ooh. All right. So using generative AI, right? We've got the image makers and we've got the text writers,
Right.
and really the text writer can help mimic a lot of the day to day of what a normal.
Mhm.
I'm sitting at my desk. The AI could probably do it for me. Uh,
Yeah.
uh, let's talk about it in terms of marketing.
Mhm.
So I've created sort of this workflow funnel that
Mhm.
makes it really easy. So what we do, okay, I'm going to give it away the secret and get ready. This is one of my
Yeah.
favorite ones, but this is This is how I do it. So what we do is we jump on a phone call or a Zoom. I have the Zoom create a transcript of the call, and then I do an interview with them. I talk to them about the technology they're working on, and then do back and forth question answers. Then I take that transcript, and then I go over to the generative AI, and then I ask it to extract all the important topics from the conversation.
Right.
And then I have it create a narrative around what happened inside of that conversation. And then it creates sort of an article. And then I give it a tone, right? I want to say, okay, rewrite it.
Okay.
So that way it's a little bit more exciting. It's got some randomness to it. So that way it's not what I'm expecting. So it's got that story arc, right? The hero's journey.
Right.
You got to make sure that's in there. And then also rewrite it to simplify the language. So it's not just so high level that it's unapproachable to read. And so you want that engaging story. And so you have it run through this funnel, right? And LangChain, if you're familiar with LangChain, that's one way to automate this process. At the end, you'll have something that looks like a human wrote it. You run it through the AI scanners.
Yeah.
Does the AI scanner recognize that it was generated by AI? No.
Yeah.
It doesn't.
It should recognize it.
But if you do prompt engineering the right way, guess what?
Yeah.
It's gonna create something that is undetectable because it's just text. It's just text. And so
nice. Whatever I can say. Nice.
It's a good one. Several businesses can get started just doing this.
Yeah. So the most interesting feature I also find about generative AI is the context saving. The context it saves, and that is the most powerful thing. And I use it a lot. So what I have done is I have created different threads, right? So whenever I have to do some sort of task, I go into that thread. It has the context, and I do my job. So that is way much more easier, right? So I do not have to give him prompts again and again. Like, you have to do it this way. You have to do it this way. This is my name, or etc. Because we have to generate a lot of sales pitches, and we have to send a lot of. Let's say if we say ChatGPT or Bard, what do you think?
It goes back and forth. It depends on what I was doing. Like if you try Bard now, it's really good at doing coding tasks.
Okay.
It's changed.
And, I think because it has the internet access, that is the most powerful thing. What do you say?
Yeah, that helps a lot. That's definitely really hot.
Because ChatGPT cannot go to the internet, and that is the thing which I think if in future they are going to add it, then there will be a good competition. Make sense or not?
It does, yeah. If it has that context of the most recent information, you're going to get a better outcome.
Right. In the last, we are going to ask you, Threads or Twitter?
Oh, Threads or Twitter.
The battle.
It's now like, did your app update and it's now no longer a bird, right? It's like an X.
Yeah.
Did you change it to
an X? Yeah.
So is it still called Twitter? It's still called Twitter, right? Or is it?
I think I need to check. I need to check it.
I think I think it's like a strategic move. What they're doing is not undifferent than what Facebook did with Meta and Google did with Alphabet.
Yeah.
Right. It's going to be. It's the same thing. So X will be this umbrella that covers all of Mr. Musk's adventures.
This way. Okay. So who is going to win, Threads or Twitter?
Well, I mean, it's I don't want to be Threads is, it had its it's in the trial of disillusionment right now, right? So it spiked up, and now they have a big problem. They need to have creators on their platform. So this is something I was chatting with my team members last week. There's a big opportunity right now. Guess what? Threads is hungry for your content.
Yes.
They need to have creators on their platform doing so. Here, and it's brand new. So it's like once in a decade opportunity for creators. You will be the first to market right? You will be able to
Yeah.
be there before anyone else. If you can
Yeah.
do some good, compelling content for Threads, they're going to promote it. They're going to push it
Mhm.
forward. And then you'll be able to grow much faster than, say, for example, if you were to do this already on Twitter or Instagram or TikTok, right?
Yeah.
So if you were to start there, there's already a lot of noise.
Mhm.
But right now, at this very moment, for the next few months, maybe into next year, you have the time now to build a following on Threads.
Yeah. I can completely second that. Can it be next Google Plus? You remember the future, the what happened with the Google Plus?
They let it. It's gone. Google Plus
It's
is gone.
gone.
Yeah.
Yeah. Can that happen again with Threads? Or
Maybe.
that is going to happen with the Twitter?
I don't know. I mean, it's hard to say. It's hard to say
Yeah.
no. But if no one, like we were just talking about, if no one builds anything for
Yeah.
Threads, there's no point to go there because you could just go
Of course.
to everywhere else you're going.
Yeah. Okay. So that was pretty much all. And thank you so much for having so much information and telling us a lot about what you are doing, future plans, and many informative things. And we'll keep in touch. We'll bother you again, right? And giving us good lessons, giving the viewers good lessons. I thank you again for joining, and you have the last remarks.
Yeah. Thank you for having me today. I've enjoyed our conversations. There's just so much to cover and
Yeah.
so many opportunities in the market today that I just would love to highlight as much of those as possible. Like I was describing a little bit earlier, we'll probably be focusing on ways to create new businesses on PubNub's technology, but showing how you really can start generating a revenue growth business. And I'm really excited about that. There's a lot of exposure there. There's a whole bunch of stories that are going to be inspiring that should be able to help you get to the next phase. Here's a problem. There's a challenge. 99% of all businesses, they fail. There's a lot of businesses out there because
Yeah.
they get started, and the hard part is to continue
Yeah.
going.
Some of
So,
them are mine as well.
yep, me too. Yep. There's a lot there. Yeah. It's a lot of failures there, which is
Yeah.
important that, you have to get that experience and you need to see what fails, what works and what doesn't. And so that's something I'm excited to show here going forward with using PubNub technology, because it just makes it so much easier to get live quickly. And it's
Yeah.
that go to market quick type approach that really helps you drive success in a business. That's like the foundation. You need
Yeah.
that seed. If you don't have that, then you're going to be on an unstable, uncertain path forward. And that is a good recipe for failure. Make sure that you have that quick to market path for your business and your product.
Great. Someone is saying that the year changed my thinking about threats. Wow, Steve, you are doing good. Okay, so thank you so much, people, for joining us today. We had a very good tech start, and we'll keep bringing you more of such people to your screens, and keep following us on our Facebook page, on our YouTube channel, on our LinkedIn. Follow everywhere so that we keep bringing you more informative content, some amazing guests like him. Thank you so much. Have a nice day. Bye bye.
Thank you.
Yeah,
Bye-bye.
thank you.